Hey, guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Single Chronicles. I'm your girl, R.S. Lewis, aka the Insomniac Writer, and today I am talking about my journey and why I have remained single and abstinent because I've had somebody ask me about it, and I was just like, you know what? I think it's a good time to talk about it. So, if you are new here, make sure you favorite, heart, save this podcast so that you can be updated and notified when a new episode airs. For everybody else, welcome to the Single Chronicles. Missing someone. Okay, so today, I wanted to talk about this and actually make an announcement. So stick around to the end of this episode because it's very important. And I had to think about it. It's very hard, but it was definitely something I wanted to think about. In regards to this podcast, it was tough. I was thinking like how I'm gonna do this because, reasons. Anyway, today I wanted to discuss about why I prioritize my health to heal after a breakup and why I chose celibacy again, why I chose to remain single on purpose. It wasn't that I couldn't find a date or I just didn't have any desire to. Like I would go on dates or, talk to people and get somebody's number and the information, and then it was just like, I don't want to do this. And there were people that I had interacted with physically and otherwise or whatever. And they were like, well, well, we did this before. And okay, it's a lot of shit that people used to do before. Doesn't mean that I'm going to keep doing it or that you need to keep doing it. And it doesn't mean because you had access to me back then, you have access to me now. People have this thought process. And I was one of those people. I used to think, all right, I'd rather the devil I know than the devil I don't, or however the saying goes, because I would just be on I don't want to sleep with someone new. I don't want to add a new body. I'd rather be with somebody I've been with because reasons. And then I was like, that's a stupid fucking thing. It's a stupid reason to be with someone versus being with someone new because we don't want to put ourselves out there. We don't want to go through the trouble. But in my time of healing and learning, I learned if you cut the bullshit, cut the foreplay, get to the point, what do you want, what I want, let's talk about it, let's be for real, pay attention to the red, yellow, and green flags, and then go from there and make a calculated decision, an analytical decision. And it's maybe because for the last 7 years, I've been working in finance, so, I've had to do that anyway. But when I learned to do that, it saved me a lot of headache. And then I just got to the point where it's like, now I don't want to be bothered. But what I started to do, not just in terms of my own healing and dealing with traumas and stuff, I started prioritizing my physical and my mental health. And the reason was because I was like, yo, you get one heart. And this is February. It's the month of love. You see hearts every fucking where. You know what? I want to take care of the one that I got because I only got one damn heart. So why would I sit up here and let that shit go to waste? Why would I let that shit just fall apart? You know what I mean? And that doesn't just include heartbreak, emotional trauma to the heart, but physical. So I started focusing on my health. I started focusing on the things that was making me feel better physically and otherwise. And then I said, well, once I get to a point where, okay, you know what? I can do X, Y, and Z, then focus. Once I get to a point I can focus on other people, then yeah, bet. That's what I'm going to do. But that wasn't the case, you know what I mean, a couple years ago. Then the pandemic happened, and I was like, okay. And then it made me, I wasn't scared. Like at first I was, because, they made it seem like you're going to die right away. Like I'm not saying that it wasn't scary, it wasn't bad, but it made me personally prioritize my health. I was like, you know what? I'm noticing that the people that are succumbing to this have other issues going on. They are unhealthy. I've always been active. It wasn't even about being active. That wasn't the hard part. It was about the things I was putting in my body. Am I putting inflammatory, acidic shit in my body, or am I going to put stuff that's going to, prolong my health and my life potentially? I already have enough stuff to where I live in the hood. I already got shit to worry about, dodging motherfucking bullets and other stupid shit. I don't need to worry about having fucking diabetes or having a stroke or any other thing. And I'm not saying that I can't succumb to, I can't, I won't, I'm invulnerable to those things or I'm invincible, but I'm going to try to lower my chances as much as possible. Like every time I tell people you're doing health, well, you're going to die anyway. That's such a stupid fucking mindset. That's so fucking toxic. Just because I'm a die, you think I want to die painfully? Like, okay, how about, yeah, we all gotta die. That's the one thing you're promised when you're born. But why would I want to make the trip faster or whatever the case might be? I hate when people say, well, we all gotta die sometimes. Have you ever seen somebody on dialysis? Have you seen people getting chemo? Have you seen people having to shoot fucking insulin in their, in their bellies all the time? Like, who wants to go through that? That's not a quality of fucking life. And I'm not saying this to disrespect anybody that has to go through those things. I'm just saying I don't want to go through those things. I don't want to deal with that. Like, yeah, we all got to die, but do I want to live in pain? And there's a difference between living longer and dying slower. That's what motherfuckers out here doing. We're taking all these drugs, we're taking all these cocktails of whatever the fuck. We're doing all this shit just to die fucking slower. So when people say, oh yeah, we're gonna die someday, well, I don't want to slow down my death. I just want to live longer. And there's a big fucking difference because motherfuckers did, yes, toxic ass thinking. But when I started really thinking about my physical health, I was already on a mental health and emotional health kick. That's how this podcast started. But when I really started to focus more on the physical and the things I was eating, and don't get me wrong, since the pandemic kind of chilled back, I kind of, went, not saying I went back to my old ways, but I'm not as strict. I want to say I'm not as strict as I used to be, but for the most part, I don't deprive myself of anything, but I don't indulge either. So if I know that I'm going to eat some processed carby bullshit that I know I'm not supposed to have, all right, you know what? I don't do that all the time. Maybe once in a while. Birthday. Yeah, I'm going to have a birthday cake. Is the birthday cake vegan or vegetarian? Probably not. But I know that when the next time this birthday going to come around? A whole fucking year from now. So yeah, I'm not saying you got to deprive yourself of anything. Now, I'm not that disciplined. There are some people that are. I'm not. And I'm not going to sit up here sugarcoat. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. But what I am going to do is I'm going to, flush my system and flood it with things that are actually good for you and get back on track. Like, people beat themselves up. They'll go and have holiday dinners or go out for a special holiday or birthday or something and then quote unquote fall off the wagon and then beat themselves up like it's the end of the world because the numbers on the scale went up. That is so detrimental to your health. Like, not just physically, but mentally. Like, why put yourself through that fucking stress of, oh my God, I fell off the wagon. Oh my God. Da, 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 da. First of all, if you know that you have an issue with staying focused and staying on track or, with self-control, better yet, if you have a problem with self-control, then maybe don't indulge in those things that you lose self-control. This is like, if you can't go out with your friends and have a couple drinks, maybe one or two, three tops, whatever, and control yourself and not just get shit-faced every time you go somewhere where alcohol is involved, then you have a self-control problem. You know that you're going to abuse alcohol. Same thing goes with food. Then you need to make sure that you have a plan, a break in case of emergency plan or whatever, or some kind of contingency in place that you don't put yourself in this situation to lose control. And a lot of times people don't do that. They indulge. But that goes back to the mental and emotional welfare of yourself, because why are you doing this? There has to be a reason. Like, nobody just says, all right, I'm going to go to this bar and get so fucking shit-faced I piss the shit on myself. Now, every now and again, yeah, it happens. Like, there was a guy that went out to the strip club Onyx that used to be open here in Philly. He was there. I was working. I wasn't a dancer, by the way. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because some of my closest friends used to work there and they was dancers and entertainers. So fuck y'all for y'all small-minded. Anyway, the point was I was running a company called the Designated Driver, Philly Designated Driver. So I would drive people back and forth, dancers, the bartenders, bottle servers, customers. I would take them there. and take them back home. If they were too drunk and inebriated to drive their car, but they didn't want to leave their car, I would take their car, have one of my other drivers come pick me up. And it was basically ride share service before Uber, before Lyft. Yeah, your girl is a Black history in the in the flesh right here, okay? But before any of that, I would take, make sure everybody got home safe. And this helped with the club's liability because here in Philadelphia, here in the state, in the Commonwealth, if you knowingly serve someone alcohol and they're obviously inebriated and just well over the limit, you can get in trouble. They can come back, turn around and sue you if they go and hit somebody. So let's just say I get shit faced, I get in a car accident, fuck somebody else up. They can sue me if they have full tort insurance or whatever. I could possibly get prosecuted by the Commonwealth or the city, but then I can turn around and take those losses and try to get those back from the place that served me all that alcohol because y'all should have knew better. It's like weird living here, but hey, the way liability and all that other stuff work, why risk it? So I would take people home. More of the story is, sorry, going back, this guy was fucked up. He had pissed on himself. He threw up on himself. He shitted on himself. And these motherfuckers had the audacity to say, hey, can we take him home? No, the fuck we can't. I'm sorry. We're going to have to call a cab with leather seats because I'm not taking him home. How did he get here? How did he get here? How about that? I'll drive him home in the vehicle that he got here in, but I'm not driving him in my car. You know how many times I've had to avert people throwing up in my car? Like, I would carry bags. I would go to Save a Lot. At the time, Save a Lot, you buy the plastic bags for like 10 cents. I buy like $1 worth. I would keep them in my car. Not just for shopping, but because every time somebody had to hurling that. But the point is that with people, if the one guy that was fucked up, he was in a drink. His friend was like, he don't drink at all. I don't know what happened, but his friends got him shit faced and they kept giving him drinks. It was his birthday. Here another shot, here another shot. If you know he don't drink, why y'all do that? Y'all terrible friends. But you have people that don't drink that normally wouldn't do that wouldn't get that fucked up. But if you're that type of person that you can't control yourself, most times people like that go into sobriety, or they start getting into AA and different things of that nature, and they hold themselves accountable and they say, you know what, I can't control myself. I don't like who I am when I drink, so I'm just not going to do it at all. I might have another vice or no vices at all, and that's totally fine. That's understandable. I'm not one of those people. I'm a person that every now and again I like to have a glass of wine, maybe on the weekends. I had gotten to the point where I was, before I got on my health kick, especially during the beginning of the pandemic, I was going down that road of being an alcoholic. And my mother had moved in with me, and I've said this story. We did not have the greatest relationship. It's gotten better, but we just didn't. And it just was, I'm now, before the shutdown, when she had first moved in with me a few years before, I think like 3 years before the shutdown, everything was cool because I could just dip. Hey, I ain't got to sit here and take this, but bounce. I did the same, basically what my dad and my stepfather told me to do. Just dip, just leave. Don't you got a fucking car? Bounce. I said, well, if these two people who are the exact polar opposites of personality of one another telling me the same thing, I'm gonna listen. And then my partner at the time said, yeah, just, you don't got, every response don't need a response. Everything don't need a response. And I was like, you're right. Eventually, and that right there, and this is why I don't have ill will towards my ex. Yeah, he cheated on me. He was a piece of work. He wasn't abusive or anything, but it was a lot of gems that I wish that I just would have just never gotten in a relationship with him and just was his friend. Because at the end of the day, there were a lot of things that he taught me on how to deal with the situation that I was in. And I was like, all right, I need to move. Then fast forward, the lockdown happened. I was like, I don't think I want to get a house. I'm like, I got to tell the realtor I want this fucking house. So anyway, long story short, I got into, started to like go towards that role of being an alcoholic. It wasn't that I had to get drunk every night, but I had to have a glass of wine, a very tall glass. Matter of fact, it would be like a venti size cup of fucking wine every fucking night. And I'm like, this cannot be good for my kidneys. Was I drunk? No. Did I drink a lot? No. 20 ounces of wine, though, technically is a lot. And I wouldn't drink. I'm lying. It would be the venti size cup, but I would fill it halfway and the rest would be ice. So I'm not going to sit up there and make it seem like I was a wino or something. But I was just like going down a path that I personally didn't like. most people would be like, oh, that shit ain't get you drunk. Or, you know what I mean? No, it's just that I was doing it every day. So to me, it felt like I needed to have that at the end of my day to take the edge off, to help me get through the days dealing with her and everything else. Plus this lockdown, plus, me not knowing if I'm going to have a job for how long, even though they kept telling me, yeah, your job is guaranteed. They told a lot of motherfuckers that at a lot of different places of employment. And I just didn't know. Then I was just trying to grow my business. And it was like, are you serious? So I had to my driving business had already went defunct, and people were asking me if I was going to bring it back, and I was like, no, there's Uber, there's Lyft, they don't need me. And I never really pushed that company. I didn't market it very well because I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So I focused on this podcast. I focused on other things, my Zumba classes, which I had to move virtually. All the other things I was doing, I was like, all right, I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on my business. I'm going to focus on my health. So fast forward, pandemic's ending, everything's fine. I said, oh no, yeah, I had to chill on the drinking. So I noticed that I started losing some weight. The weight that I had gained over 2020. I was like, how do I gain so much weight? I ain't even eating that much. I'm like, I know I'm not moving as much, but I ain't eating that much. Your body doesn't properly metabolize food when you're drinking because the alcohol is in the way. So I was like, all right, let me prioritize my health. And then I got to a point where I was like, all right, I don't need to drink every night. I can just have a glass of cranberry juice or a glass of water and just be cool. But when I noticed that I had to, that was happening, that's what made me stop. Some people don't have that mindset or that, energy or whatever you want to call it. They don't have that type of self-control. People, and it's not even about having self-control. Sometimes life is fucking lifing, and that's the only way that makes you feel like you ain't got to deal with it. And by that point, it becomes addictive. Just like food, alcohol, cigarettes, other drugs, recreational drugs, otherwise, it happens. And I was like, how can I be in the health and wellness industry and I'm not promoting health and industry? So I had started doing, I started vaping, and I was like, oh, I got to chill with this because of the tobacco. I mean, well, not the tobacco, but the nicotine, I got to chill and other things like that. So I said, all right, I know what I need to do. I know how I need to get my life back on track. And that's what I did. And I spent so much time focusing on that. I started feeling better. So all the stuff that I was practicing or preaching about, the mental stuff, the stuff that I talk about on this podcast, the trauma, dealing with the trauma, it allowed me to actually focus on the issue at hand, set proper boundaries at home, and not have to deal with some of the bullshit. And now that things are kind of getting back to normal work-wise, and I'm trying to get get my funds back to where like the savings, and because I had accumulated a little debt, using the credit cards a little bit more because whatever. But I was like, all right, I ain't trying to have my credit score dip down to like the 600s or something like that. Let me get my shit back in order. So I did that, but I had to prioritize my health. And when I totally decided to step away from the dating scene altogether, there were people that were, I don't want to call them potentials, but I will for the sake of argument, that did not really particularly care for that. They were like, who the fuck you think you are? And I'm like, I'm just trying to do better with my life. This has nothing to do with you. This has a lot to do with me and who I am and my growth. My growth is my growth. It's not going to be yours. And I have to do this. So it helped me realize, well, what is it why do you want to stay in my life so bad? If that's the case. And then on top of that, there's nothing wrong with you being a potential person that I want to spend the rest of my life with and cohabitating and having a relationship and yada, yada, yada. My thing is what is your end game? You know what I mean? Because I was kind of peep that it was like, you just want to get the draws. That's the only thing that you keep coming at me about. And I'm like, no, this is not what I want. Like, if you just want sex, go fuck somebody. It's damn near 8 billion people on the planet. Go find one of them. And let's just say half of them people are married, and half of that is of legal age, and then half of that is you still got a nice couple of 100,000 people that you might have access to. So go ahead, have at it. Leave me the fuck alone. And it just started to bother me because it was like, what do and I think I talked about it. It's like, yo, why do people want access to you when you have made it clear that you don't want to give that access to them? It's like, no, it has nothing to do with you. It's not you. It is my path. It is my peace. It is my healing. I got a lot of shit to make up for. Now I'm in my 40s. Do I want to stay single for the rest of my life? No, but if that is the end result, it is what it is. It's meant to be, so be it. A lot of times people are afraid to be alone. A lot of times people are afraid to heal. They're afraid to face what's really fucking with them. They're afraid. It's easier to go distract themselves, be it watching bullshit on TV all day, every fucking day, and just on the Instagram and social media, or just another human being, physical interactions, and people distract themselves. And I'm not trying to say this to trigger anybody, but it is easier to distract yourselves from the shit that is really bothering you in the real world than to face it head on, deal with it, and get, I don't want to use say get over it, but heal from it. Because you're never going to get over being abused. You're never going to get over trauma. What you can do is heal from it and do everything that you need to do to prevent it from happening in the future, or from repeating those past mistakes. And that's basically all I want to do, because I had noticed back in, like, I want to say 2022, that I got into someone real heavy. I really did enjoy this love. I don't want to say love, but I really did like this person. And I was too blinded, and among other things, um too much of a lot of dumb shit to see how they really felt about me and what it was hitting for. This was not a person that was intellectually, emotionally invested in me. They just wanted sex. And because when it came up to things relating to being in a mood, that's what they hit me up for. That's what they wanted to talk about. Now, would we talk about other stuff? Of course. We could talk hours on end, and the conversation don't even get close to sexual. But at some point, we were going to have that sexual conversation. And it was just like, buddy, can we not? It's like, is that all you want to hit me up for? And then it was like, you know what? People get mad and say, oh, this person only hit me up when it's about sex. They only want to be bothered. They only want to fuck. Da, 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 da. Well, you don't have to give them access to you. You can cut that off. And that's eventually what we did. I said, I can't do this. And then I left them alone. I stopped talking to them. I just totally kind of let them out of my life. And I was cool. I was happy. I was focused back on my shit. They come back around. I'm like, okay. And then I realized I'm falling down familiar tropes and habits that I had spent a long time getting over and healing from. So I noticed then once I did that, I was like, all right, Rose, you come on now. You know better than this. You gonna fall for the bullshit. Like, really? Like, come on now. You ain't even that lonely. Like, you just are making these reasons in your head that this is acceptable. And I thought it was okay, because it was like, all right, this is someone who ain't gonna be up under me, because this is a long distance relationship, yada yada yada. It don't matter if it's long distance or not, because at the end of the day, they were still looking for someone potentially they could date in their area, and that's totally fine. I'm not even mad about that. But my thing is that it just didn't feel like, I didn't feel the connect on the other side. I wanted it to be a connect on the other side. In my head, I imagined that it was, but at the end of the day, your brain can't tell a fantasy from fucking reality sometimes. And it'll sit up there and think that what's going on in your head, that little scenario you done put together, is the real deal Holyfield. And then your heart will break based off of some shit that ain't even fucking happened. So, you know what? I said, Rose, you got to do better. We got to do better. You can't practice loving yourself and you not doing the things that show that you love yourself. And that's when I said, I'm out. I said, I'm done. And they hit me and was like, yeah, I can't be friends with you because I know we were going to try to be friends. And I'm like, we barely even talk, but okay. Yeah, I'm just cool with you. It is what it is. He was like, well, I can't even follow you on social media. I can't even talk to you, because if I do, I'm going to start thinking these sexual thoughts, and I really want to start dating people. And I'm like, the fuck? At first I was like, oh, thank you for your transparency. But then I turned around, I was like, you know what? Fuck you. Because I was like, no, I'm better than all of this shit. You know what I mean? And it just proves to me what I allowed myself to fall for. And I was just like, yeah, I was upset. But I wasn't really upset at him. I was upset at me, because I knew what it was. I knew what it was hitting for. I knew full on well that the relationship, or whatever you wanted to call it, in the back of my head was not even that. It was just, oh, you know what? I want to get my rocks off, because right now I'm alone, and here's this girl that I'm digging, yada yada yada, and that's that. And I'm like, I know better. So I went back to prioritizing my health, prioritizing my fitness, and it wasn't just like coping. It was other things that I went back. I went back and started listening to old episodes of this podcast, the very podcast that I created to heal. And I figured out where I fucked up at. And I said, you know what, Rose, focus. Your goal was to let your mother have your house, move the fuck out, then go in and do everything you need to do as far as, dealing with life, grow your business, and that was that. First thing was pay your car note off. Second thing was pay off your student loans. Student loans are paid, car note is paid. Time to move out of the nonprofit sector, because that was the main reason why I was doing that. Because I said, look, 10 years and I'm done with these fucking student loans, which became longer than 10 years because of the lockdowns and shit. But still, the point was I said I was going to do it. And now it's time. I want to focus on my business. And that's what I've been doing. And you know what I mean? Things are hard, but they've been working out. And that leads me to my next point, which if you stick around for the writer's reflections, I guess I will discuss. Thank you so much for tuning into the Single Chronicles. Today I talked about prioritizing my health and why I decided to, do the abstinence thing and just not really focus on dating. It wasn't really a priority for me for a while anyway. My businesses were, my daughter graduating college, which that was another thing. I said, once she graduates, I'm leaving Philly. Once, certain debts are paid and, I can financially have that freedom that I want. Yeah, I'm leaving. And I'm starting the next chapter in my life. And that was the goal. Speaking of next chapters, I have decided to conclude the Single Chronicles after this season. Now, will this be permanent? Will this be indefinite? It's hard to say. Because it's become a brand and because it's become such an important thing to me, it'll still be there. I'm not going to make it inaccessible. You'll still be able to listen to the episodes. I may bring it back. I'm not sure, but as of right now, the Single Chronicles will be concluding. I will wrap up this season. But with that being said, I'm thinking I'll maybe go a few episodes, 2 episodes a month as we dwindle down. If that, I don't even know if I'm gonna do that many, because I noticed over the last few weeks I haven't even been uploading. The last episode that I recorded, I didn't even post. So I just don't want to leave you guys up in the air. So we'll do a few more episodes. I'll take some stories, which I said I wanted to do, and talk about those. But it's just, I don't pour into this podcast the way I did. And I think that this break is a much needed break. Now, like I said, this may or may not be permanent. If it is, I'll let you know. I mean, I'm not going to end it as, I'm never coming back to it again. I'll still have the merch. I'll still have it open. But until then, the next season 6 is up in the air. So that being said, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in and, stick around. I will have some episodes. I'm not just going to leave it just not recording nothing, but until I solidify myself and relocate my kids' graduation. Plus, I've been growing my YouTube channel, been growing other areas of my life, trying to not rely on just plain regular social media like Instagram and TikTok and stuff, because the algorithm, depending on what you look like, the algorithm, or what you post and different things, the algorithm really does not serve me very well sometimes. So I'll post a video and sometimes my followers won't see it, and then other times they won't recommend it to other people. So I'm not sure why. I can't get a rhyme or reason of what this algorithm is doing, but it's very frustrating, and I spend a lot more time trying to promote certain things than it's exhausting. So I want to take a break from that, not just the Single Chronicles, but social media. And yeah, I'll post things from here and here to stay relevant, but I just need to take a break. and get back to focusing on I got like 2 credit cards to pay down because like financially things got bad, and I had to, do what I had to do. And I mean, they're not like maxed to the dollar, but they're high up, and I had to pay off a trip that I took last year, different things, a lot of things. So now that I'm playing catch up, I want to have that done before this year is out. I'm hoping to move sometime by 2025. That's the goal. Realistically, I was saying 2024, but realistically, it looks like next year will be the goal. And once that's done, I know that I won't be able to pour in this podcast. I'll have to set up recording somewhere else, or maybe renting a podcast place, and that was just like too much. I was like, do I really want to do that, spend more money, and the return on the investment is just not worth it right now. Plus, I believe Spotify is going to be making changes to the way this podcast is going to be set up, so it just made more sense to just end the Single Chronicles, or at least conclude it temporarily, or put it on pause. And that was a decision that I made. It was very hard because this was my baby. This actually got me through some tough shit. There were times I couldn't get to the studio. I recorded in the car. I recorded at home. I recorded at my office at work. It was just like a lot. And it's one of those things where you have to eventually let things go. When things aren't working out the way you want them to work out, there's a reason. There's a door opening somewhere. So when one door closes, another one opens. And this door has been trying to close for a long time. And I just see it was just ready to let it go. In addition to, there's like a flux of other podcasts that are just, let's just face it, they're terrible. They just basically are clickbait. And I'm not hating, but it just seems like they're talking about sex and this battle of the sexes and battle of the genders. And it's just, it seems like everyone is just still in this angry place ever since the shutdown. And I just don't want to be a part of that community anymore. I would rather not have a podcast at all and then to be a part of that, because that's just not who I am. I don't preach what they preach. And I'm just not that divisive. And I don't want to do like someone wanted to merge on a podcast and bring people on and do all that other stuff. I just don't have the energy to pour into it right now. And I just felt that it would be unfair to you, my listeners and my supporters, to give you something and I'm not giving you my all. So with that being said, thank you. It's been amazing, a dope ride. We've been at it 6 years now. The podcast, I would say it started in 2018, maybe 17, with the Instagram posts and the stuff on the stories, then going on to the YouTube channel, then coming here to Spotify, and just in different other streaming platforms, and just getting syndicated on, like, I think we're on 10 platforms now. So and probably many more. That's just the ones I know off the top of my head. And just to watch this grow and get thousands and thousands of streams and plays, to reach so many people all over the world, it has been one of the most amazing, humbling, and dope experiences in my life. And I am truly grateful. You guys, it wasn't just me sitting here talking about shit that got me through things. It was the fact that people would interact and say, hey, I listened to your podcast. I just got over a breakup and you helped me so much. Like, just hearing those things. And I don't care if I don't have a lot of listenership. Like, I'm not Joe Rogan, obviously. And I'm not, these podcast groups that just get up there and just, $1 million worth of game or shit like that, which that's a podcast I really love with fellow Philly natives. But to not have that following, but be able to touch one person, just one, and just to have, I mean, I had more, but just that one time that someone said, hey, you got me through some shit. Like, I had one person tell me they were going to off themselves, and they saw an ad for the single. It wasn't even an ad. It was just a post. I came up on their FYI or whatever, or FYP, and they were like, they checked it out, they clicked it, they went on my page, they clicked the link, started listening, and they were like, damn, yo, I had to DM you. You saved my fucking life. And I'm like, word? Like, that's when I knew I had to keep doing it. But then we fast forward to now, when I realized that it's just not me pouring me into it anymore. And I don't want to feel like I'm giving y'all BS. I'm not giving y'all the genuine version of me. So with that being said, we will continue. Hold on, I'm sorry, mic issues. We will wrap up this season. I'll have a few more episodes, maybe some confessions or something like that. And I will try my best, crossing my fingers, to get give y'all more stuff before we close out. And hopefully, you never know. Like I said, this isn't goodbye. This is a see you later, because I definitely feel that this podcast will come back and help other people. It's helped me. And I want to come back on the podcast and be like, hey, give y'all the updates, follow-ups. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll see. I'll catch y'all on the flip-flap. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Single Chronicles. Again, I am your girl, R.S. Lewis, a.k.a. Insomniac Writer, signing off. I will see you later. Be awesome, be you. But above all else, love yourself. All right, y'all. Take care.